I watched one of the cutest, quirkiest, most hilarious films I've seen in a long time. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Unemployed Actress. I'm Lobcke, I'm her is she, and she is me. Guys, we are back for another week of The Unemployed Actress. It is still Christmas over here in the hizzo. So welcome. As you can tell, I'm super excited. Like I said last week, I love me some Christmas. So I'm having a good time. This week, I once again have no updates. There was more castings, fun castings. They came and they went, but no news on anything outside of that. So guys, because there's no updates, we're just going to delve into what did I watch recently. And recently, last night, I watched one of the cutest, quirkiest, most hilarious films I've seen in a long time. It was so heartwarming and so funny. It had me grabbing for my asthma pump while pausing the film because I just couldn't stop laughing. It is it's so heartwarming, it's so adorable, and it is so true to the early work of the magically funny New Zealander that is Taika Waititi. And last night, I saw Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Now, if you haven't seen that film before, you 100% should. I hadn't seen it before. I was introduced to it by a friend of mine who was like, you have got to see it. You are going to love it. Now, I knew Taika from What We Do in the Shadows. I was introduced to him via that film. Not personally, just his work. In case I'm like, yeah, me and Taika, we're bros, what do you mean? No, it's not that. I was introduced to his work as a director and a writer with What We Do in the Shadows. And not the HBO series, no, the film. I thought that was so funny. Again, that happened when I was in final year of drama school, if you will. And we sort of had to write pieces on our obsessions. My obsession at the time was vampires. I told you this before. I'm a twihard. I watched Vampire Diaries front to back and back to front. I am the biggest True Blood fan. I've got a giant True Blood poster that's hanging in my apartment. So vampires was my thing, and not just in television and film, but in book form. I have a bookshelf that has over like 50 books, and all is vampire genre. It's all vampires. So I was a big vampire fan. And as I was writing my piece and I was putting it together and I was working with my lecturer on putting the piece together, he was like, this piece is unironically hilarious. Go watch What We Do in the Shadows. And I was like, okay. He's like, it's about vampires. So I was like, oh, okay. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? It was so funny. It was so funny. It was like a spoof movie meets just like a comedy. It was so much fun to watch. It was hilarious. It was just taking the piss and vampires and vampire fandom and lore. It was great. So that was my introduction to Taika Waititi. After that, watched Jojo Rabbit, which is just funny. Again, he has a beautiful way of melding just hilarity with these really poignant topics, these really poignant stories, these really hard storylines, but they've got so much comedy in it. It gives such levity to heavy topics. I mean, Jojo Rabbit is the Holocaust, right? And he's managed to make us laugh throughout the film. So then there was that, and then he took on Marvel, and we don't really talk about Marvel. But all that being said, last night I saw The Hunt for the Wilder People. It is so cute. It is so cute. The story follows this boy who was in foster care and was now being placed with his aunt and uncle. It's in New Zealand. It's in the New Zealand outback. Um, and he's got this caseworker who is probably one of the funniest characters, one of the funniest characters you've seen in a film. She is so serious, and she is so, like, I think what's amazing about her character is she's got this very um she's got a very bad outlook on him. She doesn't rate him, if you will. She thinks he's just a delinquent and he's just a child waiting to end up in juvie. Um, but it's her delivery. It's the way she describes him that is so funny. It just strips the almost the reality of the fact that, like, you get children's caseworkers who don't even care about kids. They think very little of them. And she is that character, but she's so funny in the delivery of her lines, in the things she says. There's this line she keeps repeating. It's sort of a mantra, is "No child left behind." But the way she says it, it's a heartwarming phrase. "No child left behind." And she just threatens with it. She's just like, "No child left behind. No child left behind." And you're just like, it's never sounded more threatening. This isn't a heartwarming phrase. But anyway, so there's her, and then there's his auntie, and then his uncle is just like this, like, farmer man. And his auntie is just, she's got such love for him. She just wants to take care of him. And he's just this, like, kid who's been in so many foster homes, angry and sad at the same time. And I think the cutest, like, gesture his auntie makes was, like, she made his bed for him and she's put a hot water bottle in there. And then this sort of just becomes this feeling of home to him, is that there's this hot water bottle. Someone cares whether or not he's hot or cold. He tries to run away. He doesn't get very far. She finds him the next morning. And when she puts him to bed the evening, she says, "Are you going to run away again in the morning?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'm thinking about it." And she's like, "All right, just be back for breakfast." And he's like, "Okay." And true to form, he does run away and comes back for breakfast, just to find that his auntie passed away. And then begins this journey of him and his uncle, and them sort of running. Well, he runs away into the wild. His uncle finds him, and they decide to run away together because technically his aunt is the one who wanted him, who wanted to adopt him. So now that she's no longer there, foster care is coming to take him back. And that's the the crazy lady. And it then becomes this national manhunt for this little boy and his uncle. And he's trying to survive in the wild. They're scrounging for food. There's boars. There's eel. They're just killing animals, cooking them for breakfast, for dinner. They're having birds. They're having rabbits. They encounter all sorts and all kinds. They then encounter this man named Sam, who's a conspiracy theorist of the highest order. Sam is a bush. And when we meet Sam, Sam is camouflaged as a bush. And Sam basically says, "Am I a bush or am I a man or am I a bush?" So we meet all of these amazing characters along the way. That's really just, they're so heartwarming because they're so not only authentic in who they are, but they're so impassioned. It's amazing. It's one of those things where there's a saying that, in film, comedy is drama. It's just drama. You just have to take it on as a dramatic piece. The words is comedic, the scenario is comedic, but the story itself is a drama. You've got to play it, you've got to take your character seriously, and every character in this film takes themselves so seriously, plays their roles so well. They are so funny. The situations they get themselves into, it's just, it's really so hilarious and so heartwarming. I mean, his uncle starts out not wanting him to call him uncle, because he's like, I'm not your bloody uncle. But their relationship also just grows to them being uncle and nephew. And he sort of tells his uncle some of his stories from foster care and talks about a friend that he had named Amber that just disappeared. She died. And he's like, how do you know she died? And he's like, they said she died. Like, she was in a foster home. She was complaining about, she was telling stories about the foster dad. And then she died. And they're like, how? And the uncle's like, but how did she die? And he's like, I don't know. I'm a kid. They don't tell me anything. But she died. And he's like, whoa. And the story is just, that is such a common story, really. So it just the way they spoke about it and then just moved on from it. Again, we didn't get stuck in there to be like, oh, this is dark, but sort of brought us back to remember that this is also just a kid. He's a kid that's been through some stuff and stuff that he shouldn't have been through, but he has been. So, oh my goodness. And then he sort of becomes this little celebrity. he needs the help of this girl who finds him. She's on a horse. There's just so much things that happen to this little boy. And all he wants is just to stay with his uncle and with his dog. His dog's named Tupac. And he thinks that, he's a gangster. It's so funny. There's this one line where he says, if he goes back to foster care, he's going to fall into drugs and gangsterism, and he's going to die in a drive-by. He's like, you're a kid from New Zealand. Like, what drive-by are you going to die in? What drugs is this? Even his uncle's like, just shut up. You're just talking. You're just talking right now, and it's ridiculous. But it's so cute. It's so cute. It's such a heartwarming film. It's so lovely to watch, but overall, it is hilarious. It is so funny. You will be in stitches start to finish. Start to finish, I promise you. If you aren't in stitches, then you have no sense of humor. But like, you will be in stitches. So you need to see The Hunt for the Wilderpeople. It is top notch. Guys, like I said, there isn't really an update on the acting thing this week. It is also getting close to being Christmas, so it's quieter for this moment, while everybody's enjoying the festivities and being with their families, and then it will pick up again. I mean, I went for an audition this past week for a commercial, and the commercial's only shooting in the new year, so it's sort of also this few weeks of closing, and then we open up back to the world, and then it's back to castings, and then it's a brand new year. Guys, then 2025 is upon us, and we thank God that 2025 is upon us. Guys, I cannot express enough how glad I am to put this year behind me. But we've also got really amazing things that is coming up in the next few weeks. So I will keep you posted on that. Can't wait to share that with you. Can't wait for you to see what it all looks like. But yeah. And just like that, it is time for my abstract recommendation of the week. My abstract recommendation of the week. And this week we are going Dutch psychological thriller with Spoorloos. Spoorloos is wild. It is so good, and the ending could never have been predicted. This part contains spoilers, so skip ahead or just watch through it, man. You still need to see it anyway. Um, Spoorloos is directly translated to Without a Trace. The Americans did an adaptation called The Vanishing. Don't watch it. Listen, we can all read subtitles. Please turn on your subtitles and watch the original. Do not watch the remake. Please, I beg of you. If you take any kind of movie recommendations from me and you listen to me, do not watch the remake of Spoorloos. So, Spoorloos is directed by George Slicer. It was made in 1988. So, before I was anywhere near being on this planet, this film came out. And it is so good. It has one of the best villains in television, in film, in cinema. One of the best. Not the best, so please don't quote me on saying it's the best. He is one of the best. He is so unnerving, so just, he goes against what you normally expect from a villain. And I'm going to explain why. But for now, get ready to watch Spoorloos. Spoorloos sees a couple, a Dutch couple, on a vacation in France, right? We meet them on their drive on this vacation. They're having a really lovely talk. The girl is telling her boyfriend basically about a dream she had about a golden egg. This is a call to the novel that this film is based on, called The Golden Egg. It was changed to The Vanishing after the film came out, but it was The Golden Egg. So the girl, Saskia, she is telling her boyfriend about her dream about a golden egg, and they're talking and chatting and talking and chatting and driving and just enjoying their vacation, right? We get a chance to experience their relationship and sort of love it. And then they pull over at a gas station. Dun dun dun. The film sort of takes off once they get to this gas station. We see this unassuming man, truly unassuming. He's just a guy, you know. We see him sort of get the attention of Saskia. She's trying to get cool drink out of a vending machine, and she needs change, and he offers her change, and they sort of built this really cute relationship as strangers. You know, this chatty, polite relationship we have if we see each other in the same place and we had a brief discussion, if you will. So they have these sort of encounters with each other. Saskia then sees this keychain that this man has. It's the circle and it's got an R in. Her boyfriend's name is Rex. So she sees this and she's like, oh, it's so cute. I'd love to get that for my boyfriend. Like, oh, you know? And this guy's like, oh, yeah, no, he makes these. Like, he's actually the distributor of these keychains. Like, come. And she buys the stuff in the store. He gets his snacks in the store. So she follows him out to his car. Now, at the car, she's also being smart, right? She stands outside of the car. She's not getting in. She's leaning in to wait for him to, get the keychains and show it to her. But then she sees on the dash is a picture of him and his family. And she's like, family man. Unassuming, completely normal, average-looking man. So, family man's not going to harm me. And she gets in the car. She gets in the car. Mans is in his bag with a chloroform on a cloth over her head. She's out. Cut back to Rex, who's looking everywhere for Saskia and doesn't find her. We then move into the future, and Rex is still looking for Saskia. Rex literally cannot move on because he wants to find his girlfriend. He wants to know what happened to her. Like, one moment she was here, the next she wasn't. So how is that possible? Rex then starts getting these sorts of taunting postcards from the killer. to be like, do you want to find out what happened? I know what happened. I'm the one who did this, da 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 da. And Rex basically does this yearly news interview, basically. And on the interview, he says the killer needs to contact him. He just wants to know what happened. He doesn't care about anything else. It's not to catch him. He literally just wants to know what happened to Saskia. And the killer makes contact. And the rest of the film is this journey of us sort of meeting the killer, if you will. I mean, we already knew it was him, right? But we sort of meet him and we see his family life, and we see how he sort of practiced for this. Like truly practice the grip there with the chloroform, practice how much chloroform is needed. There's this scene where he has his wife and daughters like scream in the house, like just for fun, just scream. I'm gonna see if I can hear you from outside, just to see how far he needs to be before nobody can hear you scream. So, right? So we sort of see the kind of person he is. Again, because he's so normal looking, because he's so average and unassuming, it almost makes him more unnerving, because you're like, this man could be anyone. He could be anyone. He has no distinctive features, nothing. He's just dull as dishwater. And I think that adds to his creepy factor. Rex, who is super obsessed with finding Saskia, truly. He wants to find his girlfriend. He wants to find what happens to her. Gets basically led, like the Pied Piper, like the kids who followed the Pied Piper, basically gets led to his death, if you will. The ending is absolutely phenomenal. It is a literal twist that you never expected. Literally. Hey, you never expected that ending. We knew we were going to find out what happened to Saskia. We knew by way of conversation and everything that Saskia is dead. And Rex sort of volunteering himself to find out what happened to Saskia. It's that optimism, right? We kind of hope that, like, at the end of it all, he just tells him what happened to Saskia. Oh no, he does not just tell him what happened to Saskia. He shows him what happened to her. Now, it's one of the biggest, one of the biggest spoilers. So I'm not going to tell you what it is that happened to her, that also happens to him. But it's wild. It is wild. It is so insane. What I love about how the film is shot is because the actor also who plays Rex, he's so high angst, right? That we are on this anxious journey with him the entire time. He's just going through it. And we are there for everything that he's going through. And the camera shots is nice. It's nice and tight. And this is also something that's so cool. It opens wider when it sort of wants to show us how unassuming this killer is, how unassuming this man is. There's one shot where I think it's a town square that we have, and you can't see him. He's in there. We literally have to zoom in on him. But he's so normal. There's so nothing distinctive about him that you couldn't point him out in a lineup and be like it was him, because he's just so normal looking. It's actually, I think, what then adds the thriller or the scare factor, if you will, is that he's so unassuming. It again then begs of the audience really to go, a psychopath doesn't look like the Joker. He doesn't look like Hannibal Lecter. He doesn't look like... Who else is there? That's absolutely nuts. He just doesn't look crazy. He doesn't look like he kills people. He doesn't look like he doesn't look like a serial killer. He's just a person. He's just a guy. He's just a man with an everyday job and with kids and just lives his life. Again, what I always love about European films and what Hollywood always fails to do is that they don't wrap things up in a nice little bow and give us the outcome that we were all waiting for and hoping for, and like, yeah, that's where we're gonna get the good result. You know, the good guys win. Or if the good guys don't win, at least something bad happens to the bad guy also. That's not the case, yeah. And that's something that I love about European indie cinema, is they're just like, sometimes the bad guys win. Like, sometimes the bad guys win. And in this case, the bad guy wins. He drives off to kill another day. It's so good. It's so good. So commit to subtitles and watch Spoorloos. It's really good. Do not watch The Vanishing. Don't watch The Vanishing. Watch Spoorloos. It is such a good film. It's such a winding journey that the film takes us on as we're watching it, because as much as Rex is trying to discover what happened to Saskia, so do we. And his anxiety building has our anxiety building, and we're just like, It's really good. It's really good. It's not a hunt to find the killer. It's a hunt to find how she was killed, which is what makes this film so good and so different from like, oh, we're chasing this unknown person. No, the unknown person is here. He's like, it was me. Do you want to know how? Do you want to know how? And Rex is just a prime example for curiosity killed the cat, but to an obsessive degree. So, very good movie. Very, very good movie. Watch it. I've got no extra things to say or more motivations. Watch the film. It is so good. And that ending, you never expected it. You never expected it. When you've watched it, DM me and be like, I never saw that coming, because you never did. You never did. But that that is my abstract recommendation for the week. Everyone, that was me, short and sweet. An abstract movie recommendation, another movie recommendation, and watch the works of Taika Waititi. He is so funny, and all his films deserve to be seen. Again, we don't talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. We don't mention it. It is like Bruno. We don't talk about it. But everything else, watch that. Thank you so much for coming back for another week of The Unemployed Actress. Guys, there is no acting stories or things to tell you guys yet, but there is so much that is up and coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. Thank you for everyone that returns every single week. For the new people who have joined, welcome. Remember to like, share, subscribe, share. Get people to watch this Unemployed Actress talk about film, auditions, and abstract movies you might not have seen. But for now, once again, everyone, happy holidays. Enjoy the time with your friends and your family. And I will see you back here next week. Have a good one.